So the summer break for IndyCar is officially over as we finally have another race weekend as the Bommarito Automotive Group 500 is this weekend. A weekend that's been previously dominated by Team Penske with Joseph Newgarden dominating the event, especially the last couple of years. Scott Dixon, though, winning the event last year, surprisingly, so we could see a shocker this weekend. Scott has been getting really close this weekend, especially at some of these ovals, really just sneaking by. I could really see him picking up a big win, especially as he's trying to head into that championship race going into the end of the season. It's going to be interesting to see going forward, like with that race being so close at this point, because you got Alex Palou in first, you got Scott Dixon, or Will Power behind him, in second, and Scott Dixon behind him in third. Really close championship race heading into this kind of final stint with the last couple of oval races and then the weekend at Portland. We did have a test at Worldwide Technology Raceway earlier in August, a test that was just pretty much dominated by Andretti with Herta in first, Kyle Kirkwood in second, and Marcus Ericsson in third. Complaints of low tire degradation, which not really great to see. So possibility of less high side passes going into this race. We're probably going to see something that's going to be similar to Iowa, where the strategy is going to be more so one in the pits rather than on the racetrack, which I know makes a bunch of arguments amongst fans. I mean, it is what it is. We're just going to have to see how it plays out this weekend. So, of course, it wouldn't be an IndyCar weekend without driver changes. So we had driver changes aplenty going into this weekend. Alexander Rossi is set to return after suffering a broken thumb after hitting the tire barrier in Toronto. Quick recovery for him. I wasn't sure if he was going to be able to return for this race or not. It's going to be interesting to see going into the weekend how big he is going into this and if that thumb is going to be causing him any issues, especially with how long this race is possibly going to go. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. And just questions next year for what he's going to be doing with him leaving McLaren. Where is he going to go going forward? There's quite a few options. I mean, we have Chip Ganassi, the possibility of Lundqvist exiting the team after just kind of poor performances this season, not really up to the par that I think Ganassi is really looking for. You can possibly slide Alexander Rossi into that spot, I think. Then you have the possibility at Meyer Shank now, which is one of the big openings I feel like, and a personal one myself, I feel like would be one of the best fits for Alexander Rossi if you're looking for a full-time spot next season. David Malukas surprisingly left that seat to go sign with AJ Foyt in 2025, so now we have an opening next to Felix Rosenqvist over at Meyer Shank for next season. Nothing is really finite yet for what's going to be happening in that seat, but it'll be interesting. I feel like Rossi, that's the best spot if you're going to be thinking of a future in 2025. And then there's the possibility of Ray Hall, Letterman, Lanigan with Christian Lundgaard exiting the team. Not really the best spot. I mean, it's a option, I guess, but it's not a great option. So I feel like if you got the possibility of the three, it may be a little controversial, but I would choose the Meyer Shank seat if I was Alexander Rossi going forward. Catherine Legg is also making her return to IndyCar as she is driving the 51 car for Dale Coyne Racing for the rest of the season at the Ovals. She has raced previously this season at the Indy 500 and both of the races at Iowa. Her best finish this season was 17th at the first race at Iowa. Some pretty good starts in a car that I feel like equipment-wise not the best being in more the back of the pack. People have shown promise in that car. Toby Sowery having some of the best results in that car on street courses this season. But in terms of ovals, not a lot of success. It'd be interesting to see what Catherine can do in this car. She has shown some promise, especially in qualifying. So if she can move up a bit, possibly get up into the middle of the pack, it'd be interesting to see if she can possibly move up in the field a little bit and kind of push into that top 15. Also, some interesting news. Augustine Canapino is out at Juncos Hollinger Racing for the rest of the season for the 78 car. And he will be replaced by Connor Daly for the rest of the season. I feel like it's a pretty simple move. People might try to pull controversy out of nowhere, but it's pretty fucking simple. It's on paper. Augustine Canapino hasn't been putting up the results that the team needs. The car is right outside the winner's circle, I believe. So with the last couple of races and Connor Daly's prior success at ovals in IndyCar and outside of IndyCar, as he recently drove in the Xfinity Series, getting third in practice and even 14th at the race. 4 top 5s in his IndyCar career. Really good results at ovals specifically. I feel like it's just a pretty good move to be able to get yourself in that winner's circle when you need a driver to come in now and be able to produce results for you. Connor Daly's your best option. So pretty simple move there by Juncos Hollinger. It'll be interesting to see who's going to be driving that 78 car next year. I don't know. So I'd like to hear any thoughts below for that seat, because that one's going to be really interesting. And what, in my opinion, is a little bit of a surprising move, David Malukas is signing with AJ Foyt in 2025. This one's going to be really interesting. Really interesting going forward. Prior success this season, as David was let go from McLaren after suffering an injury and being able to come in mid-season for Meyershank and put up pretty good results with that car after really limited time on track and just like no time with the team at all. He's been able to put up some pretty good results. Feels more like a lateral move for him, moving over to AJ Foyt. I mean, I get it. You could have more success at the Indy 500 and a better car there. But overall, is it really going to fare well in the entire series? And just thoughts for AJ Foyt going forward in 2025 in general. Are they going to add on a third car to the team? Or are we possibly kicking someone out? Because are we kicking out Santino Ferrucci, or are we kicking out Stingray Robb? Because if you just want to simply look at the results, I mean, Stingray's best finish this year was 15th at Iowa. Ferrucci's best finish this year was also 6th at Iowa. 7 top 10s for Santino Ferrucci this season. I feel like if you're going to be looking for a good 1-2 combo, Ferrucci and David Malukas are your two guys. I mean, especially at ovals, that's kind of a scary combo a little bit. Both drivers are ones that I feel like put a lot more pressure into it and are put more pressure into these high side big passes and things like that, which you love to see on the ovals. I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think you can get away with that 1-2 combo of Ferrucci and Malukas financially, because that is a big point that people like to bring up, is the financial aspect that Stingray Robb possibly brings into the team. I don't know. I think you could get away with Santino Ferrucci and David Malukas for next season. I feel like that's a good team option, but is this a big move for David Malukas himself? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. It's going to be really interesting seeing this championship race going forward with it being so close. Alex Palou having a decent lead over Will Power, but I mean, as we're heading into the oval part of the schedule and Alex Palou still without an oval win, it's going to be really interesting. I feel like he does pick up his first big oval win, as we have a couple of big races that he could possibly win. One of these, I feel like in Milwaukee, he can possibly sneak away with. But I don't know. Will Power has prior success at ovals, so I mean, that's going to be a big thing going forward, especially in this race. Scott Dixon has produced some really good results and some podiums this season, and Colton Herta has shown a lot of pace this season, really hunting for that first big oval win. And then Pato Award, you can never count out in these races. So I mean, the championship hunt going forward, and it's just getting closer and closer every race. So I mean, I feel like it's getting to a situation where this thing isn't going to be decided until the final race of the season in Nashville. Be interested to hear any thoughts for race winners for this weekend, or possibly podium predictions. For a interesting winner for this weekend, I'm going to go with Scott McLaughlin. Penske has shown prior dominance at this race, and I feel like they're going to keep that up once again. And then I'm going to go with David Malukas for a second place podium finish, and Joseph Newgarden behind him in third, because you can never count him out at these ovals. He's always really fast, really quick. So those are my predictions for this weekend. I'd be interested to hear any in the comments down below. As always, thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch, and have a wonderful rest of your day.